Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction interview. And today's February 14th, Valentine's Day, and so I thought, um, my best friend told me that this new Mickey cartoon was out, and actually I had someone else also on YouTube tell me that this new Mickey cartoon was out. And I kind of thought, from the thumbnail had Mickey Minnie in it, so I thought I would do this as a Valentine's Day special. Um, since honestly, for me, the two, whenever I think of Valentine's Day, I think of Mickey and Minnie because, like, for me, that's just the two most iconic. Like, I cannot think of Valentine's Day without thinking about the mice because they just are pretty much the embodiment of Valentine's Day, so to speak. So, at least for me. So, let us begin and see what this is. And also, the title, For Whom the Booth Tolls. I can't read this and not think of Metallica. I can't. I read this title, I think of Metallica. For Whom the Bell Tolls. Let's begin. Starting video on 3. Make sure I'm still recording. I always have to double check that. Okay, here we go. Start video on 3, 2, 1, click. Is this a horror movie? Oh, nope. Oh my gosh. It's a Ford Fairlane. It's a Ford Fairlane.
That's French for worry-free date.
You bet it's gonna be.
Please insert 25 cents.
That's a Suburban.
Thank
That's like a
you,
65
and
Chevy
drive
Suburban.
safely.
That's like a 45, 46
I got this.
Ford pickup.
I don't have any change.
The Black Cauldron. Oh my gosh.
How about a brick of gold?
Well, that's not gonna work. We need a quarter. Oh no, we're next.
I love the scenery. And I love the detailing. Column shift.
Please insert 25.
That's supposed to be like a face, isn't it?
Oh,
Oh, here we go. Problem solved.
Oh.
it knows what we've done.
Oh, Mickey, don't worry. It's just a quarter.
Yeah, I guess we're fine.
This is supposed to be a horror movie. Like, oh yes.
It's just a quarter.
Yeah, I guess we're fine.
Please
Mickey, look
insert
at-
25 cents.
We're here.
I love this already. Dude, that's a Ford Fairlane. That's a 55 Ford Fairlane.
Perfect.
Yeah, huh? I saw that.
What? I don't see anything.
Say, let's go for a walk around the park.
I'm thinking Mickey's.
La 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 la.
Oh. Minnie was. Minnie's Yahoo. Minnie's Yahoo. Oh, that's so cute.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
That had the mouse ears on it. I saw that.
Mickey, are you all right?
Oh, it's silly. But I keep thinking I'm seeing that toll booth everywhere. Huh?
Okay, so it wasn't just Mickey. Oh my gosh, that thing comes alive.
25 cents.
Goofy.
Aha! Quick, please.
Sure thing.
Thanks.
That'll be 75 cents, please. Gosh, y'all need change? Well, let's see.
Oh my
The
gosh.
current interest rate.
Thank you, and drive safely.
Phew.
Excuse me. I still owe you some more change.
Well, that certainly was a change for the better.
Oh, okay. Okay, honestly, I love this. This is honestly one of my favorite Mickey shorts, and there's a multitude of different things that are going on in this cartoon. And it's interesting. it really is interesting because just a simple trip for the mice ends up turning into complete and utter heck whenever they end up encountering this toll booth and they don't have change. And so, Minnie doesn't think anything about it, and it's just 25 cents. And Mickey, and honestly, I wasn't certain if it was just Mickey's paranoia that was getting to him, and like all of this was just in his, pardon me, all this was just in his head, and he was just becoming anxious. He was becoming angsty and paranoid, or if Minnie would begin to see it. I'm honestly very glad that they wrote the story so that Minnie did see it and that she herself panicked, because I didn't want it to end with Mickey thinking that it was all just in his head. I actually wanted it to be real. Um, because I have seen that kind of gimmick in, horror before, where one person sees something but another person does not. And I'm just thinking, why? And I know it did correlate to the story, it, but again, it kind of makes you think, it makes you wonder whenever someone else, like, I think back, and that's totally not related to this, in terms of the storytelling, but it kind of makes me think about the Final Destination movies, where other people, how they all believed they were going to die, but other people didn't believe them. Like, no, you're not. Oh, well, I guess you did. And, it's just kind of annoying. And, but here, at first, it was just Mickey's paranoia. And Minnie was completely blissful. Blissfully unaware. She didn't see it until finally, boom, she sees it. And then the mice realize that they're being chased. And the cartoon, honestly, it's a very interesting thing because the cartoon started off with such a very upbeat thing, and then you see these very dark looking things in this cartoon, and then it transitions to something very dark, and I love it for that. I love it for that. This, I gotta say, I mean, for this to be a 3 minute and 45-second cartoon, the writers, they did such a great job with managing to squeeze in something that starts off so calm and cute, and then something terrifying in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Major props to the writers for doing that, because again, it's difficult sometimes to make something become scary so quickly without it feeling rushed. This right here, it tells a story, he gets the point across, it does what it needed to do, and it's still funny and comical and cute, and I love it. And it was just great. And I wondered also if at first, I also wondered if there was maybe one person inside the booth, like for whom the booth tolls, if maybe some guy was going to be inside who was going to kind of pester the mice. Nope, it was actual booth that went on a complete demonic chase, like a rampage, chasing after the mice, stalking them, and then the mice was able to give it its change, and it calmed it. And then it just waved at them at the end, like, all right, we're good. I got my 25 cents. I'm good. Honestly, I guess in a way you could say that the toll booth is probably some people whenever you borrow money from them, like the other people don't give it back. That has happened to me before. But yeah, I love this cartoon, and it's a very interesting story, and I'm definitely going to go into detail about it. The interesting thing is with the intro. The intro itself at first was black and white. It was monochrome, and I thought this was a reference to the older Mickey cartoons, but as it transitions, I began to notice something about it. First off, the music was darker in tone than what you're kind of used to. Secondly, the monochrome background title card also changed. And I realized that this is kind of going with a bit of the old 1950s style horror movies. In, that, like Dracula, Frankenstein, I guess, and such. It's going with that style because it's black and white. And it's very interesting, and you see the shadow rising above Mickey's name. And again, it's a very interesting thing. And then it changes. And honestly, the background itself is both cool but also has a bit of an ominous presence to it. Given that what you feel with this cartoon, it has a bit of a calm yet ominous presence to it. The sky is not blue, it's more of a grayish kind of brown, and you see some of the dead trees in the background. Uh, and then we have one of my favorite parts right here with the mice. The mice come over the hill in So Help Me. This looks like a 55 to a 57 Ford Fairlane. And it looks like a freaking Fairlane. And it's very cute because, and it's very cool. And I love the detailing for this car because, again, it has the Fairlane design. It's got the bumper guards on it. It has the gray, supposed to be a hood latch. And the car also has white wall tires. I mean, look at that. It has the thin white wall tires. That is awesome detail. And it's very cool because because the mice have not done anything like this. The mice have not been in any car commercial that I recall. Okay, Disney did, I think, do them or animate them in, that sounded bad, I know. Disney did them. No, Mickey and Minnie did each other. The mice did a Chevy Lumina commercial back in the 90s, but they also did a Nash Rambler commercial back in 1955, which is black and white, and you can actually still find these commercials. They're the audio quality isn't exactly good, but then again, they're much older commercials. But this cartoon takes me back to the earlier Nash Rambler 55 commercial where the mice were actually inside of a 55 Rambler, and so to actually see this, it's a really nice little take on it. And the car itself is also a four-door, which is also cool. It's also unique that the car is a four-door. I love the teal ocean color of this car, and it's two-tone as well. You got the white stripe going down the side of it. You got a lighter color tone on the top, darker on the bottom. And I love how the car looks with that. And it's just adorable. It really is adorable because we see this adorable little setting with the mice just casually, calmly sitting in this car. And again, one thing that I'm going to have to point out, and this is a 50s car, and also it's interesting because these cartoons oftentimes have a sort of a kitschy sort of style to them, with like the television sets, the radios that the mice listens to. These cartoons have they have a modern flair, but they also maintain a sort of a nice 50s, 60s essence, and mostly 50s. And this cartoon, look at this. This is two-tone leather here. This is two-tone leather, just like cars had back in the 50s. These were two-tone leather seats, soft as heck, comfortable, that you could just melt in. Heck, even up through the 70s, leather seats were comfortable. And so to see the mice just sitting inside of an old 50s sedan, it's a great thing, and I love it. It's not often we see that. And the mice also realize that they're stuck in a traffic jam. And I also have to point out, again, the detailing, look at this right here. You can actually see the dash vents you can actually see the vents on the dash for the heater. That's great detail. I said that these vehicles, this truck right here, looks, judging by the shape of the taillights on the back, the shape of the hood and the fender, and the shape of the rear window, this looks like the 1966 Chevy Suburban. Like the 66 through maybe 67 Chevy Suburban. I could be wrong, but it does look like the older model two-door Chevy Suburban. And this truck looks like a 1945 to a 47, possibly Ford F100. Just a theory because of the shape. And this other car, I can't identify it. We also look at other details with the car on the inside of the car, which again is incredibly detailed. And oftentimes the dash match the color. Sometimes the dash matched the color. Back then, the dash matched the color of the car. There's a lot of detail. I mean, and I really credit the animators for going all out with the details for that. You got the handle on the glove box to pull it down. You got the old style radio. There's no cassette player. You notice that there's no cassette player. They didn't have cassettes back then. There's no cassette player in this car. There's no CD player. You got the old style radio. And you got the old pull-out little compartment in this car, and you also notice the old uh, the old gauge on the vehicle along with the steering wheel. And this is funny because here is a VHS tape with the Black Cauldron, and I've read that that's not exactly one of Disney's most favored films, or at least it was interesting for its time, but at the same time it kind of bombed, from my understanding. And so you have a slip of paper, the Black Cauldron VHS tape, which is also funny which is also kind of goes because they didn't have VHS tapes back in '55, so this is definitely a step ahead of that, obviously. But they're just driving around in a '55 Fairlane. Something that I didn't notice the first time, the toll booth is looking at them at first, but then funny enough, whenever they drive to it, you notice it's looking at them now, facing them. But again, look at the detail. You can actually see the column shifter. And the column shift is not just one straight line. No, it's actually bent. It's actually curved like a column shift. That's like the one on my truck. It's straight, and then at the end it has a curve. And again, I love the detailing for that as well. And look at the pleated seats. You can see the pleats on the seats where the white section is separated from the rest of the leather of the seat. Again, that's a really great detail, and I love it. And I love this little bit where Minnie just takes off one of Mickey's buttons, puts it in the machine, and then uses her left foot to stomp on the gas. And Mickey's just in a panic as this car, beautiful, beautiful car. Like, absolutely love this car. I mean, they even got the fins right as they just speed away. And honestly, I love that. Like, Minnie's daring here. Minnie's daring. I have to say, this girl's daring. And here we see this toll booth. We see the red. And honestly, this kind of takes me back to Monster House, where the house was actually possessed by a ghost. And then you see, as the mice drive away, the toll booth is now looking at them again. And this is really cute, honestly, because like Minnie just leans over to Mickey, which is really adorable. And it's interesting because this car, like, in all honesty, this car, Minnie would have to be sitting in the middle. She would have to be sitting in the middle seat because there's no way. The mice, I mean, imagining, and I'm looking at it realistically here, a 55 Fairlane. Or, I'm just saying a 55. This looks like a Fairlane. Ford Fairlane. 55 to 57. That's what it looks like to me. I apologize if I'm wrong. Also, the 55, this car, the rear end is a bit more like the 55 because the 57 was a kind of slightly angled back. This one right here appears to have slightly angled forward. And the 55 was kind of in between. It was more straighter. But again, this is definitely a Ford Fairlane. And I love the Fairlanes, I do. Especially the 4-doors, but I really love the 55 and 57 Ford Fairlanes. Although between the two, the 57 is my favorite. And yeah, like I was saying prior, there's no way, honestly, that if two people are setting opposite sides in a Fairlane, and the one on the left tries to lean over, you're not going to be able to put your head over on someone's shoulder. You're pretty much going to lay over in the seat because those cars are big. So Minnie would have to be sitting in the middle seat here, and I do not know. And if someone knows, please tell me that. Please tell me that information below. Did the Fairlane have 3 seat belts in it? Like, I know it had one on either side, one for driver and passenger, but did it have one in the middle of the seat as well? That I do not know. So if it did, please weigh in the comments and let me know if it did. But this is adorable. I love the little relaxed look of Minnie as she's just leaning over against Mickey. And then things turn dark whenever suddenly it begins to turn into a horror movie. It's dark and it begins just suddenly pouring the rain out of nowhere. And it shows a really nice shot of the mice driving down the road with it storming. And this is interesting as well because the headlights on this car, these do look updated. And I know this is animation, but I'm just going by the realistic nature because the headlights appear to be bright white. Traditional headlights on older vehicles like that are more yellowish. But you can upgrade the headlights. And we also have this other really nice, really lovely scene where Mickey, his paranoia is beginning to sink in. He sees what could be a vehicle coming, and I love the look of this because, again, look at the detail. The headlights, if this is headlights, it's shining just on the top of the seat, and it's fading as it's going down. And you can see the shadow of the steering wheel against Mickey's face as it's approaching. And I love that. I love that detail. We see the first glimpse of the toll booth stalking in the back. And this really well done scene of Mickey of the rain splattered windshield with the wiper blades. That's not mere fuel. With the wiper blades wiping it, and then Mickey hears a blade, and he sees the hand or the board, and then suddenly it's like everything's bright and sunny again, and it makes you wonder if that right there was just in Mickey's mind or not. But again, look at this car. This is gorgeous. I love those Fairlanes. This is a beautiful car. And people, look at the windshield. When was the last time that you actually, I mean, I do. I've never driven in one, but I do miss the days whenever the pillar was kind of over on the side and you had that wraparound windshield and you could see a lot more around you. As opposed to the pillar being like right over here, so far from you. I miss them. And there's this little cute little thing where the mice are like le plop le butt. I love that little bit. It's adorable. And again, this is also a very cute little thing because you can see the difference in how the mice sit. Minnie has a more elegant, more feminine thing. Of course, she's wearing a skirt, so she's keeping her legs together, but she just has a very calm, I mean, they both have a relaxed look. But, you know, Mickey's the guy. He sits with his legs apart. That's how I see it, honestly. But Minnie, you know, she's the more feminine, more elegant style. She's got her legs together, kind of knees up and bent, which is cute. And this part scene is also really well done, and there's some interesting styles here that to look at. Look at the paint. Look at the way that the trees are done. This is like brushstroke painting. Like, this is like Bob Ross style painting. That's what comes to mind. The trees are like brushstroked, literally with a paintbrush. And that is beautiful. And it's an interesting style because how it blends with the animation. But the trees look beautiful like that. And there's a lot of other details that go into, because look at these bricks. Look at these bricks that are these that line this wall. Again, there's a lot of detail for the backgrounds, but it really does look great. And of course, Mickey sees the booth watching him. And the booth does have a very ominous, dark, ominous look because it's just black eyes, and the coin slot is like the mouth. And there's also a little cute thing where Minnie is skipping, and she's humming Minnie's Yoo-Hoo. Like the song that Mickey wrote for her, which is adorable. And here we see the moment with the thumbnail. The toll booth just fishing, and Mickey sees it. And this little bit where the mice are lying in the grass as well is really cute. Not too often you see that in Disney animation. Disney, please do this more. And then this bit where Mickey sees the booth, and so he just burns rubber. Literally, he like F this, I'm out. I like that. But we also notice something right here with this trolley, and we see also an interesting thing where the animation kind of changes. The sky is beginning to look a little bit darker, like it may storm again. And we notice the lights on the top of the trolley. Those are like mouse ears. They are. That might not be what they're supposed to be, but that's what it looks like to me. And it's here, of course, that Minnie notices her boyfriend/husband's distress. Yes, boyfriend/husband's distress. And honestly, I was afraid here because whenever Mickey was getting ready to tell Minnie, I thought Minnie was going to brush it off as him being silly and like she didn't see it. I thought that was going to be the case. But then the booth makes itself known, and Mickey is like, it's stalking me. And then Minnie's like, yo, you're right. And then its blade turns into a saw. And the mice panic. Because then it turns into a horror film. Oh, okay. And then the lights change. And this is interesting. The lights, you notice, they're fully open. But then they change to look like eyes. Angry eyes. I did this to my truck. No joke. I did this to my truck for Halloween. I put pieces of rubber over top of the headlights to make them look like eyelids. And then it changes to Destination Fear. Honestly, Disney couldn't have got away with it, but you could also put this to Destination Heck. And then the whole thing, and then the mice bail as the trolley comes to life and begins chasing them. And again, this is very, very awesome in how that they did it. And this is an interesting animation style with whenever they're approaching Goofy. And you can see it zooming in. And Goofy just calmly standing there like nothing, like he don't give an F. Nothing of what's going on is phasing the Goof whatsoever. And again, the mice are in peril. And Goofy just casually trying to do the math. And then the moment that this thing gets its quarter, it's like, everything's totally cool. I didn't, like, everything's fine. And it just stands there and waves to them as the sun is setting. The mice sink to the ground, happy that their ordeal is over with. And the Goofy dumps a freak ton of change on them, which, yeah, Minnie just gave him a gold bar. And here's the end title card, everybody, and a cute scene with the mice. And of course, and then it ends to show the end. Okay, Disney, why? I have to question one thing. Why didn't you put a question mark at the end of the end? I mean, come on. There's a good setup here for something more. There's so much fanfiction potential. I'd do it. But again, I love this cartoon. This is honestly one of my favorite of the Mickey and Minnie shorts, of the Mickey cartoons, because, again, it goes from being very bright and happy and looking cute. I mean, okay, the title card gives you the inclination. The title card leads you to believe that there's something dark and ominous going to happen. But then whenever it changes over to the bright, to what looks like kind of a clear day, then you begin to think, okay, how can this be horrific? But again, it changes. To Mickey begins to feel extreme paranoia. He begins to get stalked by this toll booth, and then it makes itself present to Mickey and Minnie. And this toll booth is ultimately like the Jason of the Disneyverse. And it's very interesting. And I love this cartoon. I love how they were able to make it from a kind of a happy cartoon to a horror-based short, and then happy again. In 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I love how they were able to do that. I love the setup of it. It's not often at all that we get to see something like this in terms of horror, but I love this, that they did it. I absolutely love it. And again, horror-based things like this are really for some, are very few and far between. But there's some really good comedy and humor in it. And I love this cartoon. I love that it does have some horror elements. I also love how that, again, Mickey was not the only one who saw the booth. Minnie also saw it. And I love that that happened. And also love how that the booth did not... The booth maintained a dark, ominous presence throughout the whole thing, even whenever it was calm. You didn't think anything about it, but then whenever it began to chase the mice, and even after, you had a different look to it. So, yeah. But again, I love this cartoon. I really love this cartoon. I love the story to it. I love the setup. And again, there's a lot of really great artistic details put into this. I love the car. I love the Ford Fairlane. And yeah, I can imagine somebody possibly thinking, wait, You're a Chevy owner and you love Ford? Yes, I do. I love Ford, Chevy, and Dodge all. I'm not one of those people who are going to pick sides. I love all three. Actually, I love all the manufacturers as well. Nissan, Toyota, um, as well, Honda. But again, I love the Fairlane, and I love that they put that in there. That's a beautiful car. I love what they did. I love the detailing that they did with it. I'm very happy, and I might be going out on a limb here, but I'm really hoping and feeling happy that there are some people that are working on these cartoons who are actually car guys or car girls that knows these cars and has some sort of interest in them, that they're putting these cars in here in these cartoons intentionally, and I love it. I love it. I love the detailing. I love that the cars are. I love that some of the cars aren't just your bland, typical, generic cars. Um, I mean, obviously, yes, they can't put a fully detailed car into something without getting the full licensing for it. I understand that, but it really is awesome whenever cars have enough detail in them to that you can clearly make out, for car guys or for car girls, you can make out what they are. And that's a Fairlane. That's a Ford Fairlane. That's either 55 or 57 or combination of the two. Um, but again, I love the car. I love the color. I love the sea green or kind of bluish, like the ocean or sea green color to it. I love it. It's beautiful. And or like sea mist car. And I love it. I love the little setup of the mice going on a date, and then it turns into a horror movie. I love it. It's just it's interesting. And the good thing about this is because it's a Disney cartoon, you can guarantee that it's going to have a happy ending. It's not going to end with everybody getting killed until there's one person left. Like generic horror movies where only like one person is left alive, and then at the end of it, even they get killed, and then it shows the killer looking at the screen or walking away to kill another day. No, none of that bullcrap here. It's a happy ending. The mice survived. It was a happy ending, and I love that. But again, I gotta say, Disney, to everybody that worked on this cartoon, to the writers, to the animators, and voice actors, of course, thank you all so much for all the work and effort you put into this. I especially have to say to the writers, thank you for this cartoon. Thank you for what you did with it, with the horror elements. Please do more of these in the future, please. Just like Ghoul Friend and this one, please do more. And also to the people that are saying, hey, let's put this car or this truck into this cartoon. Please also keep that up as well. Thank you. But again, everybody that worked on this cartoon, everybody, thank you so much. Love this cartoon. This is a brilliant cartoon. Thank you all so much. This cartoon rocks. Thank you all so much. And also to everybody as well, happy Valentine's Day, and happy Valentine's Day to the mice as well. So thank you, and thank you guys again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed. And to my best friend, happy Valentine's Day. Hope you enjoyed as well. And thank you guys again for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.